Which leads me to another question because I find the group of people that are getting a real tough break in all of this here are the business owners and people who have staff and employees to pay, and they still have to turn around and deal with the brunt of all these increases now in the expenses and invoices that coming through the door.
Yeah.
Yet still you got staff members now that would like they're feeling it too when they go to the grocery store and do their own thing, but you can't give a raise because you got this thing going on. So it's like I find the business owners are the most stressed out right now. What would you think about that?
No. I agree with you 100%. You know, they're stressed out. They need to go to stomatology. They definitely need to go to stomatology, but
trifling.
I think this girl bad, you know. I got so much respect for what she's doing, right? I got so much respect for what she's doing. I keep telling people the Sharia and the C in the Sharia.
I keep telling people that they don't get it. They don't get it. All right, sorry, we talking. I forget she got image to uphold to, you know. She's a scab. She's worth nothing. She's good for nothing. It's insufferable.
Thank you.
That's what she likes.
She's not a but business owners generally would have to feel the brunt because, all right, there's going to be a lot of talk in the coming months leading up to elections about whether it's the private sector that hasn't done their job in helping to retain workers and helping to repurpose, which is a word that you might hear being thrown around a lot in the next couple of years. That is,
repurposing?
If you repurpose your workers, repurpose your business. Okay, so your business failing, how can you change direction? Or your people need to be employed, but the environment is different. How can you train your people to deal with this new environment? Do you go into, when you go into a totally new business, you don't want to send one people then to retrain people. It's more expensive.
Okay.
So there could be a lot of talk, I expect, especially given the noise they're hearing on the ground about whose fault really is it.
Yeah, because they're calling the private sector parasitical.
Yeah, well, that was one particular fella. one particular fella that was meant to apologize in a letter subsequently. But no, on a real, the problem will be who would want to adjust. The government has made it very clear, at least to me, that now they figure the time is right to adjust, despite persons like myself and others telling them for the last 4 years that you need to make the adjustment now because the environment will become a little tighter, so you could at least catch yourself a bit later on and the effects will not be as harsh. But I ain't a big name economist. Other people in big name economists, we don't walk about in suits from overseas coming to tell people what to do. And then politics is a whole different game. You never want to seem weak. So to listen to a no name is seem weak.
Yeah, true.
Right? You get me? I figure that's really what the issue is. But at this point, there's so much going on globally. Trump, you got Rodrigo Duterte in the Philippines causing strife out there, depending on which side of the coin you're on, because they got a Filipino aunt in Canada whom I spoke to the other day that thinks he's a godsend. That's a guy that killing all the gangsters over there in the Philippines. Got the place a little unstable. You got just there south of us, Venezuela being a big issue too. Trump wanting to intervene. You got North Korea. You got Brexit. They got all these. They got all these issues staring you in the face.
Although people seem to have forgotten about and don't talk about as much, it's still very much people feeling the after effects of that still to this day. Brexit wasn't
and
nice,
it's going to be a little worse. I mean, the pound is still weak. In other words, it takes a lot less Bajan dollars to buy a pound now, but what, $2.60 or so much?
That's bad.
When I was studying
3.8, 5.
A little more than that, actually.
4?
It was 4. When I was studying 10 years ago, when I was doing my master's, it was 4. It broke me. It broke me. I tell you, it broke me. And all the money that I probably could have saved, it would be worth not a lot for me in Bajan dollars now. Because it would take less Bajan dollars to buy a pound, if you get me.
Right.
So, also, this has implications for tourism. Brits, you might find a lot of Brits coming. Arrivals have been going up. But you as a businesswoman, for sure, I don't even know if you get tourists coming into your class yet. But the tourists ain't spending the money.
They're spending the money.
And the majority of our tourists are Brits. And because it is more certain that Brexit will happen. It's more certain that there will be negative economic implications that probably if we had more time we can get into associated with Brexit and positive implications, right? Because of those. Quite certain that you might have more arrivals because the government here basically pays for every tourist that comes in.
Right.
I don't know how many Barbadians are aware of that, but the government pays the airlines to come here. Yeah. Government pays. I'll explain that bit because that's probably more fundamental. But so you would get the arrivals. You would get the charter planes that the government would have. It's basically a marketing fee. Call it that, right? That the government would have subsidized to bring here. You would get these guys to bring people in. But the catch is not to bring people here because a man like me, if I travel to, well, at one point when there was no starting out, and I go to Miami on business, I was sleeping in a car in Walmart in Doral. Anybody who goes to Miami would know the Walmart I'm talking about, right behind the airport. Get a car, go in that car park because hotel rooms, I could not afford it. So I wasn't spending as much as I could. And you could rent a car for like $30 US and not pay for any insurance or nothing. So, you know,
Okay.
that was me when I was starting out, right? So it's not enough to say you're bringing somebody here. It is about bringing them here to spend the money.
That they could they could
Right.
really put back in the economy.
But they know that they're paying so much more in pounds to get Barbados dollars now. So, and prices here are due to go up.
Cost
So
of living is too much, man.
So therefore, you're really hurting these tourists. And there's other little
The
implications.
tourists has actually come down here and asked locals, how do you live?
Yeah.
I couldn't pay these prices on a long term. I mean, they here for 2 weeks, so they can do what they gotta do, but how y'all just live?
We just get through here.
We would-
As a people that's way love Bajans here, we just get through somehow.
Fight the good fight.
Another
Yeah,
point
true
that I
Yeah.
would like you
Go ahead.
to clarify, and correct me if I'm wrong
Before you
with
get it, stick
the
that in.
explanation.
Just,
All right.
just what you had asked about, you said that you didn't know about the government paying airlines. Right, so it's nothing dastardly. All that happens is that the government essentially, to bring the airlines in, would probably subsidize, pay them a marketing fee. It's almost like when they wanted to market through your channel. So I pay you, and
okay.
you will fly to Barbados. You keep your costs fairly low because Barbados is not that a high volume destination.
Right.
We got a long runway, but it's only 166 square miles
Yeah.
and
Right,
X amount of hotel rooms.
Right, yeah.
So it's not that it will bring 1 million people. At best, we get 500,000, 600,000 tourists a year. It's not that many, right? So for the airlines, it will
It's a
cost
cost
them
to come to
cost
here.
to come here. So
'Cause
they
we
get
out the
subsidized.
way, yeah.
They will get subsidized, right?
Okay.
But at some point, you must justify spending that taxpayer dollar to bring these tourists here. And to me, the justification is convincing these tourists to spend. That is a problem for me that we ain't gonna fix anytime soon,
Okay.
to be honest. But yeah, go ahead.
A lot of the taxes, I think you mentioned it earlier, as I said, correct me if I'm wrong, are in place to keep people unemployed. I had seen a post
To
on
keep people
Facebook.
in,
Sorry,
come
to
again?
keep people employed.
Right,
My bad. Hi.
Oops.
Sorry.
Oops, I should have been down. No?
I had seen a post. I think it was you that shared it, Sherry-Ann. It was somebody else's post that you had shared. It was Eric that said, nobody likes the imposition of the NSRL,
Right.
but nobody is coming with any suggestions of a different path. So he brought the suggestion of firing the people. Do you think that is a moral situation where, for example, we would not want crime to increase and taking away the money, the little stipend for people to basically live?
Right.
Would that then, spur on some sort of civil war or something like that? I don't know.
What, boy? As much as we might find that, we might shed light on it and be light about it, right?
They looking so.
No. You don't want that.
Yeah.
You don't. A country that says, I'm saying we can survive it. People can survive it. People will survive it. What you don't want is what happened to Jamaica. We don't have the size or resources that Jamaica has. Jamaica is only now coming out of that rut. The rut that Jamaica was in terms of crime, in terms of a flagging economy, occurred before all of us in this room was born, This is the 1970s we're talking about, where just based on some issues they had with Michael Manley and Edward Seattle and all that stuff.
I heard those things come
Right,
up for us.
based on their issues, based on intervention by the IMF. The IMF was a major issue with them. Based on the CIA, based on Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan has a lot, but he's dead now, but he has a lot. Well, he should be blamed a lot for what happened with Jamaica, but that's another show on its own, trust me. And it took them nearly 40 years to now begin to see light. And they're a country that feeds itself, because if you travel to Jamaica, one thing about that country is it can feed itself here.
Right,
And we can't do that.
Right.
We can't do that. And another thing is there has the proximity to United States of America. We far away. If planes shut off tomorrow because but we're violent, there ain't a man that get into the States alive on a small boat. This ain't Haiti that is slightly nearby. This in Cuba where you might be sure my age here, but the Gonzales boy that floated across and caused a whole issue back in the 1990s.
Because they're close in geography.
But what I'm saying is there's a number of natural advantages that Jamaica has that for some reason has not allowed it to drop into the precipice, into the dark hole. But you see us with this Civil War thing, boy, I don't want to see it because I don't believe we can survive it. But the Barbados that we think that we know would not even be nearly as good as how Jamaica was in the 1990s when it went to the deepest, darkest levels. Huh?
I never even thought about it that way.
Nah, we
They
can't
have
do it
natural resources that they can still rely on.
easily.
Wow.
that
Easily.
we don't have.
Easy. We don't have it.
This is
But she had asked a question. Keep that there. But she had asked a question. So,
Firing
the people,
or
firing the people.
getting the...
All right, I was part of the firing the people by Wagon from as far back as 2001.
Fire them!
No, but the thing is I when I remove emotion from it, because my parents are government workers, as I admitted to you guys earlier off camera. My parents are government workers, and of course, well, gladly I know my recommendation would not have affected them because of the kind of government workers they are. But it would be stupid of me not to feel away by my own recommendations. But there were a couple of trends that showed that firing would have actually done the government more good than bad in the long run, and the society would have coped because the private sector was still
Really?
I believe so too.
2009, 2008, we were still buzzing a bit. 2009 was a down year. The economy fell, but it was much bigger an economy than what we have now, and much more buoyant.
It's true.
You still had good tourism going on, though the numbers were falling. You still had tourism spend was up. You had certain factors that if in 2, 3 years, 4 years, that I guess we didn't make the mistakes that we made along the way, eventually the government could have probably rehired people as they ended up doing the drainage unit. Apparently brought back on a couple hundred people.
Right.
After they were responsible for the bulk of people that went home a couple years ago, right? So
Sometimes it's got to
NCC.
catch your hand.
Yeah, but that's essentially it, Nadia, Sometimes you need to place yourself in a position early to catch your hand later.
Yes.
Right? But the idea of politics and how it looks and the ethics behind it and the all of the visual stuff. The optics. Yeah, all the optics
Go on,
behind
Nadia.
it. All the
They're very rough
optics.
for politics. They're very rough for...
so you ain't T?
Yeah.
All the optics behind it, ironically, is end up making these mistakes by delaying the inevitable.
Right.
So we in a case right now where, all right, if you fire people, it actually would do the country worse.
No.
Right, no.
So you gotta be real careful about who you're sending home at this point. And the crime situation we have right now would have, given where as far as we've gone, would exist because it has more to do with territory. They say it has to do with gangs. I don't know how true that is, but for me, it has to do with less jobs being available
think
for
so
the
too.
youth. So all you can do probably is compound the situation.
Right.
that
Bare
particular
toxic
situation,
energy
right?
liming
Right.
in every corner of every gap.
Yeah.
Bare toxic energy.
You got that, and some of the guys getting real bold. I
Yeah.
already heard one say certain things that they would do to a certain minister. Very boldly. I never used to hear that talk before.
And you think that all bad men and all these men that pick up guns are the ones that are waste or nothing like that. I know firsthand that there's some of them that are very frustrated that they cannot get a job.
Nadia, I would shoot somebody too.
It's maddening that you cannot earn your own money and take care of yourself. It ain't got nothing to do with I hate this body or this body. It's just that feeling of inadequacy can turn so sour and so toxic
Yes.
that you just feel to lash out.
A couple years ago, Nadia, I, wasn't getting a teaching job. I applied everywhere and I couldn't get a teaching job. I was at my lowest. I had the money. I had all the education. Where's I get a job? I would shoot people too. And I tell them what I mean.